spent my time in elementary school with the nurse. A few times a week, I would have horrible stomach pain. Because my parents both worked long hours, I was not able to go home and had to lay on a cot until the nurse sent me back to class. I stayed up until the middle of the night studying or reading with my mom. It was not because I waited until the last minute. I had difficulty learning. Therefore, I was a very active child. I spent most of my time in the water and singing or playing music. My stomach pain seemed to disappear during the summers. I spent my summers on the coast with my grandparents and my Aunt Christine. My Aunt Christine runs the swim program at the local yacht club, where I attended sailing camp all day and went to swim practice afterwards. I loved every minute and excelled in both. I spent my first part of 4th grade sailing in nationals, and was 15th in the state in breaststroke in the 8th grade. On top of water sports, I loved music. My dad was a bass player in the symphony and played the drums for the Army. He majored in music at Ole Miss and spent time passing the joy of music on. I began learning the violin at 4. I started playing the piano when I was 8 and started school band playing the clarinet in the 6th grade. But my favorite was singing. I sang in church and school plays starting from age 5 and was in the church choir in the 6th grade on. I was also in the All Superior School Choir beginning in the 5th grade. After changing schools for the 4th time, I began 9th grade. I remember standing in my parents' bedroom, falling on the floor and crying for my mom to take me to the hospital. I couldn't feel my legs, and over the months spent hospitalized, I became paralyzed from the waist down and in my left arm. I was only in the hospital for testing. After the first spinal tap, the lab lost the fluid, and instead of sending me back to have the test performed again, the doctor came through the door, had me lay on my side, and told me not to move or I would really be paralyzed, and began sticking needles in my back to numb the area. But before the medicine had time to begin working, she stuck the needle in to remove the fluid from my spine. Because the tests were all negative, I was sent for a psychological assessment and sent home. When returning home, I was fine until I sat up. I had a severe headache and would begin vomiting. After days, my mom finally called the hospital. They informed her that it was a spinal headache, and I needed to have a blood patch to stop the pain. I remember sitting upright in the chair, leaning forward while they took blood from my arm. I was in excruciating pain, trying not to vomit, while they inserted a long, thick needle through my spine to push in the blood. Later, the doctor said that if I had just waited another day, my spinal headache would have gone away on its own. Slowly, I regained feeling in my legs and was able to walk. Afterwards, my doctor called and informed my mom that I had tested positive for West Nile. Because the virus was in the beginning stages, it took 6 months for the test results to come. I was depressed. My life was completely turned around. I was unable to sing because my vocal muscles were damaged and weak. My swimming was therapy, not competition. I had gained weight so I could no longer sail in the division I loved. I became very behind in school and was sent to live with my aunt and my 2 cousins in Wilmette, Illinois. Since my dad was a drummer, I took drum lessons after my weekly vocal lessons. My voice was not the same, and I had no motivation to finish high school and dropped out as soon as I turned 18. I was cut off from my family. I lived in my car and eventually got an apartment on my own. Then, my mom encouraged me to get my GED and go to college. I passed both the GED and ACT with flying colors. I was accepted and living in the dorms at Ole Miss later that month. After my first semester, learning became something I loved. I tried out for the university choir and was accepted. I taught swimming lessons on campus to children and adults. Although I'm still not finished with my degree at the university, I've had the opportunity to study in Scotland and work under some of the most intelligent and supportive people. I am now married to my husband, who teaches high school band, and we have 2 beautiful boys. My life has led me to the path of teaching. I feel that by becoming a teacher, I can help students who are struggling in school and life. My life has taught me patience to teach and learn. It has brought me the insight that every student is different, and every child needs courage and a mentor. I strive to become the teacher that I needed and craved as a child. A teacher who encourages every student to do what they are capable of successfully achieving, and related to subjects in which they may be struggling. My goal is the desire to give students understanding and relate to them by providing knowledge about disorders that may be difficult to handle, and give them the strength to persevere.